Hello and welcome to a four-part podcast series on stress on your talk show Reflect with Sonali Mudaliar. In this series, we'll be discussing a variety of topics related to stress, including what stress is, how it affects men and women differently, and how students can manage stress effectively. In today's episode, we'll be exploring the topic of what is stress and how it affects all of us. We'll dive into the science of stress, explore the different types of stress, and discuss the symptoms of stress that can impact our physical and mental health. By the end of this episode, you'll have a better understanding of what stress is and how it affects us all. In the second episode of our series, we'll be focusing on how stress affects men and how to handle it. Men experience stress differently than women and can have a unique impact on their physical and mental health. We'll discuss the specific causes of stress for men and provide practical strategies for managing stress in a healthy way. In my third episode, we'll be exploring how stress affects women and how to handle it. Women face unique stressors such as demands of caregiving and work-life balance that can impact their overall health and well-being. We'll discuss the various causes of stress for women by providing practical, implementable strategies for managing stress in a healthy way. Finally, in the fourth episode, we'll be focusing on how stress affects students and how to handle it. With the demands of school, extracurricular activities, and social life, students often experience high levels of stress. We'll discuss the specific causes of stress for students and provide practical strategies for managing it and achieving academic success. So sit back, relax, and let's reflect together on this important topic with your host Sonali Mudaliar as we explore the fascinating topic of stress and how to manage it effectively. So today, we'll be talking about everyone's favorite topic, stress. A topic that affects each and every one of us. Now, stress may seem like just a little thing, but let me tell you, it has a huge impact on our lives. Now, before you start to sweat, literally, let me tell you that stress is not at all bad. In fact, stress can be a good thing. It's what keeps us on our toes, what motivates us to get things done, and what helps us to reach our goals. But as with all good things, too much of it can be a bad thing. And that's when stress turns into the ultimate villain. I suppose we all know the feeling. Our heart rate increases, our palms get sweaty, and our mind races. Suddenly, everything seems to be falling apart, leaving you feeling overwhelmed and anxious. First things first, breathe. I mean, really breathe. Close your eyes, inhale deeply through your nose, hold it for a few seconds, and exhale slowly through your mouth. Repeat this process a few times until you feel your body relaxing. Trust me, it works. Stress can wreak havoc on our bodies. When we are stressed, our hearts beat faster, our blood pressure goes up, and our muscles tense up. It's like our bodies are preparing for a fight, even though we are just sitting at our desks. And if we are constantly stressed, our bodies never get a chance to relax, which can lead to all sorts of health problems. Let's start with the most common type of stress, shall we? The kind of stress that comes from work, the deadlines, the pressure, the boss breathing down your neck. It can be overwhelming and it can take a toll on your mental and physical health. But work stress isn't the only kind of stress people experience. There's also the stress that comes from relationships, whether it's a romantic relationship or a friendship. Relationships can be a major source of stress at times. Have you ever heard of decision fatigue? It's the stress that comes from making too many decisions. Think about it. Have you ever felt exhausted after a day of making decisions? That's decision fatigue. Another type of stress that many people experience is financial stress. Money problems can cause a lot of stress and anxiety, especially when bills start to pile up or when you are living paycheck to paycheck. And last but not the least, there's the stress that comes from trying to balance everything in your life: work, relationships, hobbies, family, friends, and self-care all need attention. But sometimes it feels like there aren't enough hours in the day to do everything. But what exactly is stress? In simple terms, stress is the body's response to a challenge or threat. It's a natural reaction that prepares us to take action, whether that's fighting or running away. But it's not just our bodies that are affected by stress. Oh no, stress can also mess with our minds. When we are stressed, our thoughts become jumbled and chaotic. And we can have trouble focusing on even the simplest of tasks. It's like our brains are running 1,000,000 miles a minute, and we can't seem to slow them down. Now, stress can be a tricky thing to define. But if I have to say in simpler terms, stress is senseless turmoil removing emotional, sensible solutions. It's that feeling of overwhelm, of pressure, of being stretched too thin. It's what happens when we have too much on our plates and not enough time or resources to handle it all. But it's also a normal part of life, something we all experience occasionally. And let's not forget about the impact stress has on our relationships. When we are stressed, we can become short-tempered and irritable, which can put a strain on even the strongest of relationships. And if we are constantly stressed, we may not have the energy or the desire to connect with others, which can lead to feelings of loneliness and isolation. The problem with stress, however, is when it becomes chronic, we are constantly in a state of stress, and our bodies and minds suffer. We become more prone to illness, our moods can become unstable, and our relationships can suffer. And in extreme cases, chronic stress can lead to burnout or even mental health issues. So, what can we do to manage stress and keep it from taking over our lives? The first step is to recognize when we are feeling stressed. This may seem obvious, but sometimes we can be so caught up in the chaos of our lives that we don't even realize we are stressed until it's too late. So, dear listeners, the next time you feel stress creeping up on you, remember to take a step back, recognize it for what it is, and take action to manage it. By prioritizing self-care and seeking help when necessary, we can keep stress from taking over our lives and live the best version of ourselves. Once we recognize our stress, we can start to take action to manage it. There are ways to combat stress and keep it from taking over our lives. This might mean taking a step back from work, delegating tasks to others, or simply taking a break to do something we enjoy. It's important to remember that managing stress is not a one-size-fits-all solution. What works for one person may not work for another. So it's important to experiment and find what works best for you. So the next time you're feeling stressed, remember that you're not alone. We all feel it from time to time. But with the right tools and mindset, we can conquer stress and live our best lives. It's important to remember that stress is a normal part of life, but it's also important to recognize when stress is becoming too much to handle. So there you have it, folks. Stress may be the ultimate villain, but with a little bit of breathing, laughing, and physical activity, you can conquer it. Remember to take care of yourself and don't let stress get the best of you. I hope you feel inspired and motivated to take action based on what you have learned today. I look forward to bringing you more insightful and thought-provoking discussions in my future episodes. Don't forget to subscribe to my podcast so that you never miss an episode. You can leave your feedback and comments about today's episode or any ideas for future episodes you'd like me to feature on my social media handle sonalimudaliar.official. Feel free to drop me a line and do not forget to share it with your friends and family. But before I take your leave, I want to give you a sneak peek into my next episode. We'll be diving deep into how stress affects men and how to deal with it with practical solutions. So make sure to tune in into my next episode. As always, thank you for listening. Until next time, keep calm and carry on. And that's your host, life and executive coach, Sonali Mudaliar, signing off for now.